In this video, you'll learn how to prioritize tasks when everything feels urgent. Using these tips have allowed me to overcome analysis paralysis in mere seconds and be able to actually make progress on the things that I need to do without overthinking it. We will be covering 4 things. I have my notes here. We'll cover how do you decide what to work on first, what to do when you feel overwhelmed by tasks, how to stop multitasking and focus on what matters, and the 4th one is a simple way to figure out what's most important for the day. A lot of these tips are ones that I've used for myself and I hope will help you. Let's jump in. Number 1, how do you decide what to work on first? Now, there are a couple of ways to tackle this. If everything seems urgent, I like to think about how long each task will take, when each task is due. If there's a difference between like days or times or whenever the deadline is, that's important to keep in mind, and how out of your way it's going to be in order to complete that task. And then the biggest one for me is what's weighing you down the most. Many times when we're procrastinating on a task that we really need to do, at least I tend to scroll on social media to avoid it. But if I really just think about it, there's just this one blaring alarm that's going off in my mind and in my heart on this thing. It needs to be worked on. So if that's going on, that's the thing you need to work on first and just get it out the way. Now back to the deadlines. If whatever is due sooner, oftentimes you may want to get those out the way first, or whatever takes the most mental energy, you can get out the way, or whatever makes sense context-wise. For example, if you have like 3 tasks going on that you need to be outside for, maybe you do all 3 of those tasks while you're outside and batch them together so that you won't have to go outside later to deal with them. Now let's move on to number 2, which is what should you do when you're feeling overwhelmed by tasks? Now, as mentioned with the first point, I would not recommend running away from the tasks if you can. Like as mentioned, I like to scroll. If you like to scroll, maybe you want to avoid it by watching TV. At least getting a plan down before procrastinating on it will really help in the long run, and I think takes off a lot of the pressure. And hey, once you get the plan down and written down at least, you may even feel motivated enough to actually get started on it. I find that when I just get started on whatever I've been procrastinating on, or whatever that big glaring task is that I really need to get done, once I get started on it, once I start to sort of get that clarity on the plan, and I talk more about clarity somewhere up here, you can check that video out after this one, then I'm much more apt to get started and make progress on that task, and oftentimes finish it, or at least get a decent way there. So when you're procrastinating on something, at least try to get that clarity with a plan, and then it'll be a lot easier in the future to actually complete those tasks. The next method for this, when you're feeling overwhelmed by tasks, is to think about your goals. Think about what objectives you have and what tasks actually align with those objectives. If you have a bunch of tasks that aren't conducive or don't work with the goals or objectives that you have currently, just delete them, just get rid of them. If you don't want to delete them, just put them on a separate list to maybe deal with in the future at some sort of arbitrary date. But getting those tasks off your list will help you really hone down on what helps you move the needle towards where you want to be in your future, or even where you want to be in your day. I'm not in school anymore, but let's say I'm in school and I have all of these tasks, like I have study for biology, study for math, do social studies homework. And then I have other tasks that aren't as important, like organize my desk, or separate the pens from, separate the dead pens from my pencil case, or replace the erasers in my pencils. Those last three we can get rid of, because the most urgent ones right now, and the ones that are going to get me closest to moving the needle, whether it's helping me to study for a test coming up, or just getting the grade that I need to get, the highest grade. Those first three, dealing with the homework and doing the studying, those are the most important. Now those other three, we can put them on a list to do maybe on a weekend when we don't have other pressing tasks overwhelming us at this time. So at least once we get those off, that it's a lot more manageable, and we can use what we talked about with number one in order to even prioritize those more. And then the third thing to do, I like this because it really helps me. A lot of times these tasks are swirling in my head, and they're nowhere solid. So what I recommend is writing the tasks that you need to do down somewhere, whether it's in a notebook. I have my notebook here where I'm reading my notes, or you can use like an online program like Notion, Obsidian, I don't know, Google Docs, whatever you use, just to have something tangible that you can read and see and measure your progress with. And then when you're done and when you complete the task, make sure the task is completable and it's measurable. Have some point where the task can be marked as done, so you're not going on trying to make it perfect forever. Now let's go to number three, which is how do you stop multitasking and start focusing on what matters. Now we kind of covered this in number two as well, but one of the first things I want to mention is, even with trying to do all of this prioritization, a lot of the times there are fires that come up. Let's say you're working on homework and then you get a message that comes in, or you're working on a work task and then you get a Teams message, or you get another email. Those are little fires, and then those turn into whole different tasks, and before you know it, you are distracted from that initial task that you've been trying to work on probably for the last 3 hours. So what I would recommend is to turn off your emails, close out of the emails tab, mute Teams, whatever, and focus on getting that task done. Now, once you're like really focused on it, and you take away the distractions, you'll be able to finish it faster and more effectively, since your brain's not trying to juggle like 500 different things at once. Because we can't multitask. It just, when we are so-called multitasking, it just means our brain is switching between different tasks at a very fast rate. And so it's like our brain can't get comfortable in the task that we're working on. So I often get this feeling like, I'm not making the progress that I want to make with this. So try that if you're having problems with dealing with a lot of little fires. I'm kind of scared that I'll forget to address the little fires. Like if I happen to see maybe a notification or whatever, I'll just maybe write it down or flag it. In Outlook, you can put little flags and just have it on my sidebar for me to deal with later, so that I'm still focusing on the task at hand, but my fires, I'm not gonna totally forget about them. They're just out of mind for the moment. As a side note, if you still are having a hard time prioritizing what to do, just pick one thing and just see it through to completion. It's better to just get something done rather than always making it the most efficient way. It's okay if you're not 100% efficient. Shoot, it's okay if you're not 70% efficient. As long as you're getting something done and you're doing something to move that needle, you're good and you are making that progress. And once you complete that task is out the way. Now you have the other ones on your list that you might have an easier time prioritizing. And then number 4 is this. Is there a simple way to figure out what's most important today? Yes, whatever is weighing on your soul the most. We talked about this in point 1 and I believe point 2, but I am reiterating it so much because this is gonna save you so much time. Just do the thing that's the alarm blaring thing. That's the thing I want you to get out of this video. If you're feeling something that you're procrastinating on, that it's like, man, I really needed to do that last week. Man, I really needed to do that yesterday. Just do it. Just get it out the way. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, that thing that's really been bugging me, it either takes less time than I think, or it takes less effort than I think. The main problem is that I lack that clarity that I need, the clarity on what exactly needs to be done, what subtasks need to be done, and like when I'm going to do it. And again, I talk about that in the video. You can check it out down in the description. And yes, those are the 4 ways you can prioritize tasks when everything seems urgent. Go ahead and comment below what other productivity or planning issues or problems that you're having, so that if I can go ahead and make a video on it for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Steph, and this is Notes in Progress.